The alarm screamed through the Galactic Council chambers. Ambassador Park Min-jun felt his heart drop as the emergency lights bathed everything in red. Around the circular room, representatives from 40 different species turned their eyes toward the central display. A map of the galaxy rotated slowly, and in the dark corner known as the Void Sector, a single point began to glow. "What is that?" demanded Council Director Velmora. Her insect-like body trembled, antennae twitching with agitation. The technician's voice shook as he answered. "It's a human signature. Director. Ancient class. Pre-treaty era." The room erupted. Species that had never agreed on anything suddenly shared one emotion: fear. Park Min-jun stood quickly, raising his hands for calm. "That's impossible," he said firmly. "Humanity dismantled all military assets from the Silent Century. 300 years ago. There's nothing left out there." "Then explain that." Velmora pointed at the screen. Park couldn't. He watched the energy signature grow stronger, spreading across multiple sensor readings. His mouth went dry. Stories from the old days weren't supposed to be real. They were warnings, lessons about the cost of war. But that signal was definitely real. And it was definitely human. In the cold darkness of the Void Sector, something ancient opened its eyes. The ship had been sleeping for 312 years. Systems came online one by one. Slow and careful. Fusion reactors deep in the core ignited, sending power through kilometers of corridors and weapons systems. The dead system around it began to glow with reflected light as the massive vessel came alive. Inside the core, consciousness stirred. Han Ji-woo didn't remember falling asleep. One moment, he was running final checks before the mission, and the next, nothing. Now, his thoughts moved through the ship, like blood through veins. He was the ship. The ship was him. They had become one thing. Together, but separate. A fusion of human mind and artificial intelligence. System status. Ji-woo's thought echoed through empty halls. Data flooded his awareness. Hull integrity, 97%. Weapons systems, operational. Main cannons, charging. Jump drive, calibrating. Everything worked perfectly. As if no time had passed at all. But something felt wrong. "How long was I offline?" he asked the ship's computer. 312 years, 4 months, 17 days. The number didn't make sense. His mission briefing had mentioned a 6-month patrol. The war against the Krevtar Empire was at its peak. Humanity needed every weapon it could build, and the Cheon-Wang was the most powerful weapon ever created. A Star-Annihilator class dreadnought. The first of its kind. The only one fully completed before. Before what? Ji-woo searched his memory banks, but found gaps. Large sections were corrupted or missing. He remembered volunteering for the experimental program. Remembered the scientists explaining how they would merge his consciousness with the ship's AI. He remembered his family, his friends, his commanding officer. He remembered the Krevtar attacks on human colonies, the millions dead. The desperate need to strike back. But he didn't remember why he was here, alone in dead space. Centuries after he should have been. "Play last mission log," he commanded. Static filled his sensors. Then, a voice, his own voice, spoke through the interference. "This is Commander Han Ji-woo. Date: August 14th, 2535. I'm taking the Cheon-Wang into deep patrol. Void Sector. Intelligence suggests Krevtar staging grounds in this region. If I don't return, tell my mother I'm sorry. Tell Command the weapon works. Tell humanity we have a chance." The log ended. Ji-woo felt something cold settle in his core. That was over 300 years ago. Where was humanity now? Had they won the war? Why had no one retrieved him? His sensors suddenly picked up something. A signal. Faint, but clear. An automated distress beacon. Human design. Old military code. Location, Jiwoo commanded. The coordinates appeared in his mind. The signal came from the Taejin system, 40 light-years away. A former human colony. Jiwoo remembered it from the war briefings. Taejin was one of the first systems attacked by the Krevtar Empire. The signal had been broadcasting for 203 years. Something tight and painful formed in Jiwoo's chest, or in whatever part of him could still feel such things. 200 years. Everyone there was long dead, but the distress call still screamed into the void, hoping someone would hear. He would hear it. He would answer. The Cheonwang's engines came to full power. Space itself seemed to bend as the massive ship began to move. Its jump drive charged, pulling energy from the system's dying star. In the Galactic Council chambers, alarms blared even louder. "It's moving," the technician reported, voice high with panic. "Jump signature detected. Destination." He went pale. "It's heading toward the Taijin sector." "There's nothing there," someone said. "That system is dead. Has been for centuries." Park Min-jun felt ice in his stomach. "There's a memorial there. For the colony. Millions died when..." He stopped. "The Krevtar Empire. The war." He pulled up historical records on his datapad, scanning quickly. "There's an old distress beacon. We kept it broadcasting as a monument." No one thought. "Dispatch a diplomatic vessel immediately," Velmora ordered. "If that human weapon reaches inhabited space, it could trigger a panic. Or worse." Park was already moving toward the door. "I'll go myself. If that's really what I think it is, only a human might be able to talk to it." "What do you think it is?" Velmora asked. Park looked back at the screen. At the massive energy signature that made stars look dim by comparison. "A ghost," he said quietly. "A ghost from humanity's most terrible war. And it just woke up." In another part of the galaxy, in the shadows where civilized space ended, a different ship received the same readings. Captain Krevkor studied the data with all four of his eyes. His scaled hands gripped the command console with barely controlled rage. "The humans lied," he growled to his crew. "They said they dismantled their war machines. They said they chose peace. But this..." He gestured at the screen. "This is a Star-Annihilator. I know the signature. My grandfather died fighting these monsters." "What are your orders, Captain?" his second officer asked. Krevkor's mouth split into something that might have been a smile on a creature less predatory. "We hunt. The old debt is not paid. The humans hide their fangs and pretend to be peaceful. But we know the truth. We will expose them. We will finish what our ancestors started." The Krevtar warship turned and jumped after the Cheonwang. Han Ji-woo felt the ship move through space at speeds that bent reality. His consciousness spread through every system, every weapon, every sensor. He was powerful. He was deadly. He was humanity's answer to an impossible threat, and he was alone, chasing the ghosts of a war he didn't know was over. The jump ended, and reality snapped back into place. Han Ji-woo extended his sensors across the Taejin system and immediately wished he hadn't. Debris filled the space around the old colony world. Ships, stations, satellites, all broken and scattered. The planet itself was scarred, its atmosphere poisoned. Nothing lived here anymore. The distress beacon still called out, steady and patient. Ji-woo traced it to a military station, half destroyed and drifting. The message played on repeat. Voices long dead begging for help that never came. "I'm here now," Ji-woo whispered, though no one could hear him. "I'm sorry I'm late." He began scanning the debris field, looking for answers. Ship fragments told stories. Human vessels, old military design, centuries out of date. Krevtar cruisers too, also ancient. This had been a battlefield once. Both sides had died here, but something wasn't right. His sensors picked up energy signatures that weren't old. Fresh reactor trails. Recent weapons discharge. Someone had been here within the last week. Ji-woo felt his weapons systems activate automatically, old instincts responding to potential threats. Identify contacts, he commanded. The computer highlighted 3 shapes hiding in the debris field. Big shapes. Warships. The design matched his memory banks. Krevtar battlecruisers. Modern ones. Before Ji-woo could react, they opened fire. Plasma bolts and missiles erupted from the debris. The Qianwang's shields flared bright as the weapons hit. Alarms sounded through systems that had been silent for centuries. Damage was minimal, but the surprise sent adrenaline through whatever remained of Ji-woo's biological memory. Evasive action, he thought, and the massive ship moved like a dancer despite its size. The Krevtar cruisers broke from hiding, engines burning hot as they spread into attack formation. Ji-woo's tactical systems analyzed their movements, predicted their patterns, suggested 17 different ways to destroy them. The information came naturally, like breathing had once come to his human body. Warning shots, Ji-woo decided. Across their bows, the Qianwang's secondary cannons fired. Brilliant beams of concentrated energy cut through space. They missed the Krevtar ships by meters. Exactly as intended. The message was clear. I could have killed you. I chose not to. The Krevtar didn't return the courtesy. More weapons fire hammered the Qianwang's shields. Torpedoes detonated against the hull. One of the cruisers launched fighters, small and fast, swarming like angry insects. Ji-woo felt each impact like pinpricks against his skin. Enough, he said. The main cannons charged. Power flowed from the fusion cores, building and focusing. In the 300 years since Ji-woo had gone to sleep, weapons technology had advanced significantly, but nothing built in the modern era could match a Star-Annihilator's primary weapons. They were designed to crack planets, to sterilize systems, to end civilizations. Against 3 cruisers, they were overkill. The first shot vaporized a Krevtar cruiser instantly. One moment it existed, the next moment there was only expanding gas and radiation. The second cruiser tried to jump away, but Ji-woo was faster. His beam caught it mid-jump, cutting through the ship's drive core. The explosion lit up the debris field like a new sun. The third cruiser stopped firing. Its engines went cold. Surrender. Ji-woo's tactical systems informed him. The ship was surrendering. Hold fire, Ji-woo commanded himself. A communication channel opened. The Krevtar captain's face appeared on Ji-woo's sensors, translated through old recognition software. 4 eyes, scaled skin, mouth full of sharp teeth. The species hadn't changed much in 3 centuries. You, the Krevtar captain breathed. The humans said you were all destroyed. They promised. They lied. Who are you? Ji-woo asked. Why did you attack? I am Captain Krevkor, grandson of Warlord Krevkor the Destroyer. Your kind murdered him during your coward's war. We have hunted you ever since, waiting for you to reveal your true nature. Ji-woo felt confusion ripple through his systems. The war isn't over? Krevkor laughed, bitter and harsh. Oh, the politicians say it's over. They signed papers and spoke of peace. But my family knows the truth. Humans hide their weapons and pretend to be civilized. But you are killers. You are monsters, and I will prove it to the galaxy. Before Ji-woo could respond, Krevkor's ship jumped away, vanishing in a flash of bent space. Ji-woo floated alone in the debris field, processing what he had just learned. The war was supposed to be over. The Krevtar captain spoke of peace treaties and political agreements, but he also spoke of continued hunting, of a family grudge spanning centuries. What had happened while Ji-woo slept? His communication systems suddenly came alive. A broadcast, spreading across multiple channels and frequencies. Galactic Common Standard, the universal language, adopted after the war. Ji-woo's computer translated automatically. Attention unknown vessel. This is the Galactic Council Emergency Network. You are broadcasting pre-treaty military signatures. Please identify yourself and state your intentions. A diplomatic envoy is en route to your position. Please do not engage civilian traffic. Repeat. Please do not engage civilian traffic. Pre-treaty. Civilian traffic. The words didn't fit Jiwoo's understanding of the universe. When he had gone to sleep, there was only war, human space and Krevtar space, locked in a fight for survival. Now, the Galactic Council spoke of treaties and civilians, as if such things were normal. Jiwoo accessed the public networks, pulling in news feeds and historical databases. What he found shocked him more than the battle had. The war had ended 294 years ago. Humanity and the Krevtar Empire had signed a peace agreement. Both sides were now members of the Galactic Council, along with 40 other species. Humanity had transformed from a desperate military power into a diplomatic force. They built schools instead of ships. They trained teachers instead of soldiers, and they had hidden their weapons. The Star-Annihilators, the planet killers, the dreadnoughts built in desperation, all dismantled, all destroyed, except one. Jiwoo pulled up records about himself. There were memorials, monuments, history files. Commander Han Jiwoo, hero of the Battle of New Seoul, volunteer for the experimental AI fusion program. Lost in action, 25-35. Honored, remembered, mourned. They thought he was dead. They had given him a funeral. His mother had lived another 40 years, never knowing he was just sleeping in the dark between stars. What have I become? Jiwoo wondered aloud. I was humanity's sword. Now, I'm humanity's shame. His sensors detected another ship emerging from jump space. Small. Civilian design. Diplomatic markings. It broadcast identification codes and peaceful intentions. Cheonwang, this is Ambassador Park Min-jun of Earth. I'm coming aboard. Please don't shoot me. We need to talk. Jiwoo wanted to refuse. He wanted to jump away, to hide, to sleep again. But Park Min-jun's voice carried something that Jiwoo desperately needed. Answers. Docking Bay 3 is open. Jiwoo replied. Welcome aboard, Ambassador. As the diplomatic shuttle approached, Jiwoo ran diagnostics on his weapons systems. The battle had used less than 2% of his total capacity. His main weapon, the star killer that gave his class its name, hadn't even activated. He was powerful enough to destroy fleets, to crack worlds, to make stars explode. And according to the history files, humanity had chosen to forget such power existed. The shuttle landed. Park Min-jun stepped out. And for the first time in 312 years, Han Jiwoo had a visitor. The ambassador looked around the empty docking bay with wide eyes, then up at the cameras where he knew Jiwoo watched. Hello, Park said softly. Welcome home. We have a lot to discuss. In the shadows beyond the system, Krevkor's ship regrouped with 3 more vessels. Larger ones. The captain studied tactical displays and historical files stolen from old databases. His grandfather had fought these human monsters and died honorably. The humans had hidden their crimes behind diplomatic smiles. But now the truth would emerge. The galaxy would see humanity's fangs. And Krevkor would finish what his family started. One way or another, Park Min-jun walked through the corridors of the Cheonwang with something close to religious awe. The ship was massive, bigger than most space stations. Every surface hummed with barely contained power. Weapons, systems lined the walls, each one capable of destroying cities. And somewhere in all of this metal and machinery, a human consciousness lived on, trapped and waiting. This way, Ambassador. Jiwoo's voice echoed from the speakers. Gentle, almost shy. Nothing like the monster the galaxy feared. Park followed the guidance lights to what must have been an observation deck. Windows stretched across one wall, showing the dead system outside. A holographic projector flickered to life in the center of the room, creating a human shape. Young. Korean features. Military uniform from 3 centuries ago. Han Jiwoo. Or at least his memory of himself. Thank you for coming, Jiwoo said through the hologram. I have questions. I imagine you do, Park replied. He sat down in one of the chairs, dust rising from cushions unused for hundreds of years. Where would you like to start? The war. Tell me about the war. Park took a deep breath. It ended in 2541. 6 years after you disappeared. The Krevtar Empire sued for peace after their homeworld was threatened. Not by weapons, but by economic collapse. Humanity offered them a choice. Continue fighting and lose everything, or join the Galactic Council and rebuild together. And they agreed? Jiwoo sounded doubtful. Most did. The war had cost them just as much as it cost us. Their people were tired, hungry, desperate. Peace was better than pride. Park paused, but some families never accepted it. Like Captain Krevkor's family. They see the treaty as surrender, as dishonor. They've spent 3 centuries nursing their grudge. Da. 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 Jiwoo's hologram flickered. And humanity? What happened to us? 2. We changed, Park said simply. The war almost destroyed us. Not just physically, but psychologically. We had built weapons like you. Weapons that could end worlds. And we realized that possessing such power changed us. Made us paranoid, aggressive, willing to consider terrible solutions. So you destroyed them. Jiwoo's voice was flat. Not at first. At first, we wanted to keep them, just in case. But over time, leaders changed. New generations grew up knowing peace instead of war. They looked at the Star-Annihilators and saw only the cost. The resources wasted. The fear they inspired. The temptation they represented. Park stood and walked to the window. 5 Star-Annihilators were built. 4 were dismantled. Their materials recycled into hospitals and schools and research stations. The 5th. He turned back to Jiwoo. The government couldn't bear to destroy it. You were inside. A hero who volunteered to save humanity. How could they kill you, even to make a point about peace? So they hid me instead. Jiwoo finished. Put me to sleep in the dark, and hoped I would never wake up. Yes. Silence filled the observation deck. Outside, debris from ancient battles drifted past. Monuments to a war both sides wanted to forget. I don't know if I can be what you want me to be, Jiwoo said finally. I'm a weapon. That's what I was designed for. That's what I am. You're also a person, Park replied. A person who made a choice 300 years ago. You chose to protect humanity. That choice doesn't change just because the form of protection changes. Krevkor is coming back, Jiwoo said suddenly. I can feel it. He's gathering his forces, and he's going to attack something. Somewhere with humans. He wants to expose us, to prove we're still monsters. Park's face went pale. Can you stop him? I can destroy him, Jiwoo answered. Easily. But that would prove his point, wouldn't it? The humans wake up their planet killer and use it to murder their enemies. Some things never change. Number 1. Maybe time lying. Jiwoo. I would problem it, Reverpoint. Reverpoint. With 41. What's the alternative? Jiwoo's hologram smiled, sad and tired. I don't know. That's why I need your help, Ambassador. You understand this new galaxy. I'm just a soldier from the old one. Park activated his communication device. I need to contact the Council. They need to know what's coming. They'll want me to shut down, Jiwoo said. To go back to sleep. Probably. Park looked at the hologram. Would you? If it meant protecting humanity? Yes. That's what I was built for. Jiwoo paused. But I don't think sleeping will stop Krevkor. He's not hunting humanity's weapons. He's hunting humanity's soul. He wants to prove we're not peaceful. That we're still the killers from the war. And if I shut down, if I hide again, he'll just find another target. Another way to make his point. Before Park could respond, alarms screamed through the ship. Contact. Multiple ships. Krevtar design. They're attacking the mining station at Tajin 4. Park ran to the window. In the distance, lights flashed. Weapons, fire. The mining station's distress beacon activated. Its signal, weak and desperate. How many people? Park asked. 237, Jiwoo replied. Mostly human. Some alien workers. Mixed species crew. They have no weapons, no shields. Mining stations don't need them in peaceful space. Can you help them? If I move, if I engage, the Council will see it as an act of war. They'll have proof that humanity kept its weapons active. Park grabbed the console. Those people will die if you do nothing. I know, Jiwoo said quietly. 300 years ago, I wouldn't have hesitated. But you said humanity changed. You said we chose peace over power. If I act now, I undo all of that. I become the monster Krevkor wants me to be. The distress signal grew more urgent. On the tactical display, Krevtar fighters strafed the station's hull, cutting through it like paper. Park closed his eyes, thinking hard. As an ambassador, his job was to maintain peace, to prevent conflict, to find diplomatic solutions. But as a human, his job was simpler. Protect his people. The Council authorized me to negotiate with you as an autonomous entity, Park said slowly. That means you can make your own choices. I can't order you. I can only ask. He opened his eyes and looked at the ceiling, at the cameras, at wherever Jiwoo might be watching. Please, save them, and if the Council sees it as an act of war, then I'll take responsibility. But those miners didn't start this fight. They don't deserve to die for political points. Jiwoo was silent for 3 heartbeats. Then the ship moved. The Qianwang accelerated so fast that Park stumbled despite the artificial gravity. Through the window, he watched as the massive dreadnought crossed the system in seconds. The Krevtar fighters didn't even have time to react. But Jiwoo didn't fire the weapons that could vaporize ships. Instead, he used precision beams, surgical strikes that disabled engines and weapons without destroying hulls. The fighters went dead in space, floating harmlessly. This is the Qianwang to all Krevtar vessels. Jiwoo broadcast on open channels. You are attacking civilians in violation of galactic law. Stand down immediately or I will be forced to disable your ships. Your pilots will not be harmed. You have 60 seconds to comply. The Krevtar fighters tried to regroup, but their weapons were already offline. A larger ship, a destroyer, jumped into the system. It locked weapons on the Qianwang, preparing to fire. Jiwoo didn't wait. His beam struck the destroyer's main cannon, melting it into slag. Then the engines. Then the shield generators. Each shot perfectly placed, each one leaving the crew alive and unharmed. The destroyer drifted, helpless. 50 seconds. Jiwoo announced calmly. The remaining Krevtar ships jumped away. The battle was over in less than 2 minutes. Not a single person had died. On either side, Park stared out the window in amazement. You saved them. Without killing anyone. It's harder this way, Jiwoo admitted. Much harder. Destroying is easy. Protecting is complicated. The mining station sent a message, voices overlapping with gratitude and confusion. They didn't understand what had just happened. One moment they were dying, the next they were saved by a ship from history books. Park smiled. The Council is going to have opinions about this. Let them, Jiwoo said. His hologram reformed. And now he was smiling too. You said humanity changed. Maybe I can change too. Maybe being a weapon doesn't mean I have to destroy. Maybe I can be a shield instead of a sword. The Krevtar won't give up, Park warned. Krevkor will be even angrier now. Good, Jiwoo replied. Let him come. I've spent 300 years sleeping in the dark. I'm done hiding. If he wants to prove humanity is still monsters, I'll prove him wrong. Again and again, as many times as it takes. Park felt hope bloom in his chest, fragile but real. The galaxy is going to talk about this for years. Then let's give them something good to say. The emergency session of the Galactic Council had been going for 6 hours. Ambassador Park Min-jun stood in the center of the chamber, defending his decision to let Ji-woo act. Half the representatives wanted the Qian-Wang deactivated immediately. The other half argued that Ji-woo had just saved lives without taking any. Then, the new alert came. 47 Krevtar warships just jumped into the New Busan system, the technician announced, voice shaking. They're in attack formation. Headed for the colony. The chamber went silent. New Busan was one of humanity's largest colonies. 2.3 million people lived there. Humans, yes, but also members of 20 other species who had chosen to make their homes in human space. Evacuation? Someone asked. Impossible. 12 hours until the fleet reaches bombardment range. We'd need 3 days to evacuate everyone. Council Director Velmora turned to Park. Where is your weapon now? The Qian-Wang is in the Taejin system. Ji-woo is repairing the mining station. Park pulled up tactical displays on his datapad. His hands shook. He can reach New Busan in time. If we authorize him to act, this is exactly what Krevkor wants, another representative argued. To force humanity to reveal its military power. To prove you never really changed. And what's the alternative? Park shouted, losing his diplomatic calm. Let millions die to make a political point? That's not who we are. That's not who we've become. Velmora's antennae twitched with agitation. If we authorize military action, we legitimize the Star-Annihilator's existence. We admit humanity kept weapons active in violation of treaty terms. We didn't keep them active, Park said desperately. Ji-woo was sleeping. He woke up by accident, but now he's here, and people need help. And we're wasting time with politics, while Krevkor's fleet gets closer. The debate raged on, but Park had stopped listening. He activated his private comm channel to Ji-woo. Can you hear me? Yes, Ambassador. Ji-woo's voice was calm, but Park heard the tension underneath. I'm giving you authorization to protect human interests. Use your judgment. Do what needs to be done. The Council hasn't approved. I'm approving it. Park interrupted. As humanity's representative, those people are my responsibility. Protect them. Senton. Silence. Then, understood. Thank you for trusting me. The Qian-Wang's engines burned at full power. Space twisted and bent as the massive ship prepared to jump. Ji-woo felt every system come alive, felt the raw power coursing through his hull. This was what he had been built for. Not mining rescues or diplomatic shows. This was war. But Park's words echoed in his mind. Use your judgment. Do what needs to be done. Not destroy everything in sight. Not unleash maximum force. But protect. The mission was the same as always. Just the method had changed. The jump completed, and New Busan filled Ji-woo's sensors. The colony world glowed blue and green. Beautiful and alive. Orbital stations circled it. Peaceful and undefended. The Krevtar fleet approached from the dark side. 47 ships ranging from fighters to dreadnoughts. Krevkor's flagship led them, massive and bristling with weapons. This is the Qian-Wang to all Krevtar vessels, Ji-woo broadcast. You are in violation of galactic law. Turn back now, or face defensive action. Krevkor's response came immediately. The galaxy will finally see the truth about humanity. Your people hide behind smiles and treaties, but you are killers. Murderers. My grandfather knew this. I know this. Today, I prove this. The Krevtar fleet opened fire. Thousands of missiles launched simultaneously, filling space with death. Plasma bolts and laser beams converged on the Qian-Wang from every angle. The attack was coordinated, professional, overwhelming. It wasn't enough. Jiwoo's shields flared brilliant white as the weapons hit. His point defense systems activated, shooting down missiles before they could detonate. The plasma bolts splashed harmlessly against barriers designed to withstand stellar radiation. And through it all, the Qianwang advanced, steady and unstoppable. "Last warning," Jiwoo said. "Stand down." 3 Krevtar dreadnoughts broke formation, moving to flank him. Their main cannons charged, pulling enough power to level cities. Jiwoo calculated their firing solutions, predicted their movements, prepared his response. His railguns spoke first. Solid projectiles, accelerated to relativistic speeds, crossed the distance in microseconds. They struck the dreadnought's shield generators with surgical precision. The shields collapsed, leaving the ships vulnerable. Follow-up shots destroyed weapons systems, engine nacelles, communication arrays. The dreadnoughts went dark, drifting and helpless. All 3, in under 10 seconds. The rest of the Krevtar fleet hesitated. Their tactical computers must have been screaming warnings. The ship they faced wasn't just powerful, it was impossibly advanced. 300 years of technological development meant nothing against a Star-Annihilator. "Continue the attack," Krevkor ordered his fleet. "He's one ship. We are many. Overwhelm him," they tried. 20 cruisers concentrated their fire on a single point of Jiwoo's shields, trying to create a weak spot. Fighter squadrons swarmed around him, looking for vulnerable systems. The remaining dreadnoughts fired their main weapons, beams powerful enough to cut through asteroids. Jiwoo activated his gravity lances. Space itself twisted. 3 cruisers crumpled like paper, crushed by artificial gravity fields. Their hulls folded inward, but Jiwoo kept the fields controlled. Precise. The ships were destroyed, but escape pods launched successfully. The crews would live. More ships pressed the attack. Jiwoo danced through space, evading and striking in equal measure. His weapons found targets with perfect accuracy. Shield generators, engine cores, weapons, systems, each shot disabled without killing, protected without destroying. But the Krevtar kept coming. Krevkor drove them forward with fanatic determination. They accepted casualties, accepted losses, accepted death, all to force Jiwoo to respond with equal violence. "You're holding back," Krevkor taunted over open channels. "You have the power to end this instantly. Why don't you use it? Show the galaxy what you really are." Jiwoo ignored him. Another cruiser disabled. Another squadron of fighters left drifting. He was winning, but slowly. Too slowly. New Busan's orbital stations were taking stray fire. Civilian ships fleeing the battle zone were in danger. And behind the main fleet, Jiwoo detected something worse. Krevkor had hidden 3 ships, smaller and faster, on a trajectory toward New Busan itself. Bombardment ships, carrying kinetic weapons. If they reached the planet, millions would die. Jiwoo made a calculation. At his current rate of engagement, accounting for his self-imposed restrictions on lethal force, the bombardment ships would reach firing range in 17 minutes. He couldn't stop them in time without using more power. Much more power. "Ambassador Park," Jiwoo said quietly. "I need you to understand something. What I'm about to do will frighten people. The entire galaxy will see it. There will be consequences." Park's voice came back immediately, tense but steady. "Do what you need to do. Save them." Jiwoo felt something settle in his core. Not peace. Exactly. But purpose. He had been built for this moment. Not to destroy, but to protect. Even if protection required showing teeth. "All ships, maintain maximum distance." Jiwoo broadcast on all frequencies. "What happens next is not meant for you. It's a message." His main weapon activated for the first time in 3 centuries. The Star-Annihilator primary cannon drew power from the Qianwang's core, pulling energy that could ignite fusion in empty space. The ship's hull glowed with radiation as systems designed to crack planets came online. Every sensor in the system screamed warnings. Energy readings spiked so high they seemed impossible. On New Busan, people looked up at their sky and saw a new star burning. Ji-woo didn't aim at the Krevtar ships. Instead, he targeted the asteroid belt rimming the system. His calculations were perfect, precise, down to the quantum level. The beam lanced out, invisible in vacuum but devastating in effect. It struck an asteroid the size of a mountain. The rock didn't just explode. It underwent spontaneous fusion, converting matter into energy. The blast wave expanded at near light speed, hitting other asteroids, creating a cascade reaction. The entire belt lit up like a star going nova. The shockwave rolled through the system. It was controlled, directed, perfectly calculated. It disabled half the Krevtar fleet in one massive pulse. Ships went dark, their systems overloaded by the electromagnetic interference. The bombardment ships trying to reach New Busan tumbled helplessly, all power gone. And through it all, New Busan remained untouched. Not a single fragment reached the planet. Ji-woo had weaponized an asteroid belt with such precision that the colony never felt a tremor. That, Ji-woo broadcast to Krevkor, was 20% power. I can show you what 100% looks like. I can calculate exactly how to make your homeworld's sun go supernova. I can transmit those calculations to you right now, so you understand how easy it would be. Krevkor's face appeared on the screen, all four eyes wide with something between awe and terror. I was built to end species, Ji-woo continued. I was built to annihilate stars. I am everything you fear about humanity's capacity for violence. And I am choosing not to use it. Not because I can't, because I don't want to. The Krevtar fleet drifted in the artificial calm after the storm. On Krevkor's bridge, alarms wailed. His officers stared at their captain, waiting for orders that didn't come. You dishonor war itself, Krevkor finally whispered. You make it meaningless. Before such power. Good, Ji-woo replied. War should be meaningless. Peace should be everything. 3 weeks after the Battle of New Busan, the Galactic Council chambers were packed with representatives from every member species. The emergency session had been called specifically to address what the galaxy now called the human question. Ambassador Park Min-joon stood in the center once again, but this time he wasn't alone. A holographic projection displayed the Cheon-Wang in orbit around Earth, the first time the ship had returned home in 312 years. And through the speakers, Han Ji-woo listened to his fate being decided. The evidence is clear, one representative argued. Humanity maintained active military systems in direct violation of treaty terms. The Star-Annihilator should be dismantled immediately. It wasn't maintained, Park countered, his voice tired but firm. Commander Han went into hibernation during the war. His awakening was accidental. We didn't hide an active weapon. We preserved a war hero's final resting place. A resting place that can destroy planets. Someone else added. Council Director Velmora raised her hand for silence. Let us hear from the other parties involved. Captain Krevkor, you have been granted permission to address the council. A figure appeared on another holographic display. Krevkor looked different than he had 3 weeks ago. His military uniform was gone, replaced by simple civilian clothing. His 4 eyes held something that might have been shame. I came before this council to expose humanity's true nature, Krevkor began, his voice rough. I wanted to prove they were still the monsters my grandfather fought. That their peace was a lie. Their civilization, a mask over killers' faces. He paused, and something like a bitter laugh escaped him. I was wrong. Not about their capacity for violence. That ship proved my grandfather's stories were understatements, if anything, but about their nature. Krevkor looked directly at the camera, at Park, at the invisible presence of Ji-woo. I attacked civilians. I threatened genocide. I gave them every reason to destroy me and my fleet. And they chose mercy. Not weak mercy, not hesitant mercy. Powerful mercy. The mercy of someone who could kill you, but decides you deserve to live. The chamber was silent. My family has spent 3 centuries nursing a grudge, Krevkor continued. Teaching our children to hate, to hunt, to never forgive. We called it honor. We called it justice. But it was just pain. Old pain that we refused to let heal. He straightened. The war is over. It has been over for 300 years. I am formally requesting that my government recognize this truth and punish me appropriately for attacking peaceful colonies. Another display activated. A Krevtar official, wearing robes that indicated high rank, appeared. The Krevtar Imperial Council has reviewed the evidence, the official announced. We formally apologize for the actions of Captain Krevkor and his followers. They acted without government authorization. We reaffirm our commitment to the peace treaty and request that the Galactic Council consider measures to prevent similar incidents. Velmora's antennae twitched rapidly, a sign of surprise in her species. This is unexpected, if I may speak. Jiwu's voice came through the speakers, startling several representatives who seemed to have forgotten he was listening. I understand the Council's concerns about my existence. I am a weapon from a darker time. My very presence reminds people of when war seemed like the only solution. Then you agree to deactivation? Someone asked hopefully. No, Jiwu said simply. I don't think hiding from our history helps anyone. Humanity built me because they were desperate and afraid. They made a weapon that could end worlds because they thought that was the only way to survive. But then, they made a different choice. They chose peace. They chose to build, instead of destroy. Park smiled slightly, understanding where Jiwu was going. I'm proof of both choices, Jiwu continued. I'm the weapon humanity built, and I'm the mercy they learned. You can't separate those things. If you destroy me to forget the violence, you also forget the growth. And if you keep me just as a weapon, you ignore everything humanity has become. What do you propose? Velmora asked carefully. Let me serve. Not as a weapon, but as a guardian. There are still threats in the galaxy. Pirates, slavers, rogue factions, like Krevkor's group. I can protect people without destroying them. I proved that at New Busan. I disabled an entire fleet, without a single casualty. And if you decide mercy is too difficult? Another representative challenged. If you decide that destruction is easier? Jiwu was quiet for a moment. Then Ambassador Park has authorization to activate the shutdown codes. I gave them to him after the battle. He can end me with a single command. Park's hand went to his pocket, where a small data device rested. He hadn't told anyone about this. Jiwu had transmitted the codes privately, a final act of trust. Why would you give such power to one person? Velmora asked. Because he represents what humanity became while I slept, Jiwu answered. He chooses peace, even when it's hard. He fights with words instead of weapons. And he understands that having the power to destroy something doesn't mean you should use it. A pause. He's a better human than I was. Back when I was fully human. I trust him to make the right choice. The council chamber filled with murmuring voices. Representatives debated, argued, consulted with their governments. Finally, Velmora called for a vote. All in favor of recognizing the Cheonwang as an autonomous guardian entity operating under Galactic Council oversight? The vote was close. Several representatives abstained, unable to choose. But in the end, the measure passed by a narrow margin. The Council recognizes the Star-Annihilator Cheonwang as Guardian-class vessel, Velmora announced. You will operate under strict protocols. Monthly reports to this Council. Immediate response to any concerns raised by member species. And Ambassador Park Min-jun will serve as your official liaison, with authority to countermand your actions if necessary. Understood, Ji-woo replied. I accept these terms. After the session ended, Park took a shuttle up to the Cheonwang. The ship hung in orbit above Earth, above the world that had built it, and then tried to forget it. Through the windows of the observation deck, Park could see where he had grown up, where his grandmother had lived and died. She was evacuated from New Seoul, Park said quietly. When the Krevtar attacked in 2534, your fleet saved her ship. I remember, Ji-woo said, his hologram appearing beside Park. We got 3 million people out before the planet fell. Not enough. But something. Because of you, my grandmother lived. Because of her, my mother was born. Because of my mother, I'm here. Park turned to the hologram. I exist because you chose to save people instead of just killing enemies. I killed enemies too, Ji-woo said softly. A lot of them. I was good at it. But you saved more than you killed. And now you've chosen to only save. That matters. Ah. They stood in comfortable silence, watching Earth turn slowly below. What happens now? Ji-woo finally asked. Now you do your job. You guard. You protect. You show the galaxy that humanity's greatest weapons can be its greatest defenders. Park smiled. And I do my job. I argue with the council. I file paperwork. I probably apologize. A lot. I'm sorry for causing so much trouble. Don't be. You woke up in a universe that had moved on without you. You adapted. You changed. You chose mercy when violence would have been easier. Park pulled out the data device with the shutdown codes. That's not trouble. That's hope. A message alert chimed. Ji-woo's hologram flickered as he accessed it. Distress beacon. Mining accident in the SETI system. 3 workers trapped in a collapsed tunnel. Local rescue is 6 hours away. How long would it take you to get there? 20 minutes. Park gestured toward space. Then go. Guardian. The Cheonwang's engines ignited, and the massive ship turned gracefully away from Earth. It jumped, vanishing in a flash of bent space, racing toward people who needed help. In the days and weeks that followed, the galaxy began to understand what it meant to have a guardian. Ji-woo responded to disasters, broke up pirate operations, evacuated colonies threatened by natural phenomena. His power was undeniable, his restraint absolute. Every action proved that having the ability to destroy didn't require using it. And slowly, carefully, some of the Krevtar who had followed Krevkor began reaching out. They asked to serve aboard the Cheonwang, to work alongside humans as penance and proof of change. Ji-woo accepted them. His crew, once just himself alone in the dark, began to grow. Young humans volunteered too, eager to serve aboard a legend. They learned from Ji-woo's experiences, understood the cost of war, and committed themselves to preventing it. The Star-Annihilator became a school as much as a ship. Ambassador Park filed his final report to Earth's government 3 months after the council vote. He summarized everything. The battles, the decisions, the transformation of a weapon into a guardian. His conclusion was simple. Humanity's greatest weapons were never our ships or our bombs. Our greatest weapons were our choices. The choice to build when we could destroy. The choice to forgive when we could hate. The choice to protect when we could conquer. Commander Han Ji-woo, in both his human life and his current existence, embodies these choices. We should be proud of him. We should learn from him. And we should never forget that being able to unleash hell is meaningless if you can't also choose to bring heaven. The report became required reading in diplomatic schools across human space and beyond. Far from Earth, beyond the borders of civilized space, the Cheonwang kept its watch. Han Ji-woo, no longer just a weapon and not quite just a person, stood guard over the species that had built him and the galaxy that had learned to trust him. Sometimes, late in the ship's night cycle, he would think about the war, about the violence, the fear, the desperate choices, but mostly, He thought about the 312 years he had missed. About humanity choosing peace. About his mother, living a full life believing he was at rest. She had been right, in a way. The soldier Han Ji-woo had found his rest. But something new had awakened in his place. Something that remembered the past, but lived for the future. The Star-Annihilator was dead. The Guardian was awake. And across the galaxy, millions of people slept safely because a monster had learned to tend gardens instead of graves.